Mayflower Compact, North America, 1620. Britannica Editors, November 28, 2005. What was Mayflower Compact? The Mayflower Compact was the first written framework of government in which is now the United States, signed on November 21, 1620 on the Mayflower ship before it landed in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It was promoted by rough sea and the storms that prevented the ships from reaching its intended destination and near Hudson River because the colonists were no longer within the jurisdictions of their charter. Pilgrim list to draft the Mayflower Compact to quell conflict and all preserve unity. This document promotes its side into a body politics, establishing a government that is pledging them to abide by law and regulations for the general good of colony. It's signed by 41 to 120 passengers, 102 passengers, and remained in force until Plymouth was absorbed in Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1961. Mayflower Compact document signed on English ship Mayflower, November 21, 1620. Prior to its landing at Plymouth, Massachusetts, it was the first framework of government written and enacted in the territory that is now United States of America. Rough seas and storms prevented the Mayflower from reaching its intended destination in the area of the Hudson River. The ship was steered instead toward Cape Cod. Because of the change of the course, the passengers were no longer within the jurisdiction of the charter granted to them in English by Virginia Company. Within its legally uncertain situation, friction arose between English separatists and the Pilgrims are the rest of the travelers, with some of the latter threatening to leave the group and settle on their own. To quell the conflicts and preserve the unity, Pilgrim leaders, among them William Bradford and William Brewers, drafted the Mayflower Compact before going ashore. The brief document, about 200 words, bounded its signers into a body politic for the purpose of forming a government and pledged them to abide by the laws and regulations, and that would later establish for the general good of colony. The compact was signed by nearly of all Mayflower's adult male passengers, 41 of a total of 102 passengers, while the ship was ashore in the Provincetown harbor. Its authority the immediately exercised when John Carvin, who had helped organize the expeditions and chose the governor of the new colony. The Mayflower Compact was not a constitution, but rather an adaptation of a Puritan church covenant to a civil situation. Furthermore, as a provisional instrument adopted solely by the colonists, the document did not solve the matter of their questionable legal rights to the land they settled. The patent was eventually obtained from Council of New England in June 1621. Still, Mayflower Compact becomes the foundation of Plymouth's government, remained in force until the colony was absorbed into Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1691. Although they practiced much of the flower in Plymouth was guarded by the Pilgrim founders, the impact with its fundamental principles of self-government and common consent has been interpreted as an important step into the evolution of the democratic government in America. An original version of Mayflower Compact was lost, the oldest known source in which the context of that document can be found in Moore's Relation, an account of Plymouth settlement written by Edward Wilson and William Bradford. In the name of God, amen. We whose names are underwritten the loyal subjects of our dread sovereignty. Lord King James, by the grace of God, the Great Britain, France, Ireland, King, defense of the faith, etc., having undertaken for the glory of God the advancement of Christian faith. The honor of our king and country, a voyage to plant the first colony in the northern parts of Virginia, do by these presents solemnly and mutually in the presence of God and our another. Covenant to combine ourselves together in the civil body politics for our better ordering, the preservation and furtherance of the ends of aforesaid, and by reason thereof the enacts. Constitutes and frames just equal laws, ordinance acts. Constitutes of offices from time to time as shall be thought to be made at covenants of the general good of colony, unto which we promise all due submission and obedience. A witness whereof we have hereunder subscribed our names. Cape Cod, 11th of November, in the year of the reign of our sovereign Lord King James of England, France, and Ireland, 18th, and of Scotland, 15th, 4th annual, Domini, 1962. Plymouth Township, the Plymouth County, Southern Massachusetts, USA. It lies on Plymouth Bay, 37 miles, 60 kilometers southeast of Boston. It has sited the first permanent settlement by European in New England. The Plymouth colony, known formerly as the Colony of New Plymouth. The town was founded by Pilgrims, Separatists, and the Church of England, who in their search for religious toleration, and immigrated the first New England and then North America, sailing in Mayflowers from Plymouth, England. The settler reached the shores of Cape Cod in November 1620. In the Mayflower, Plymouth, England, the settlers reached the shores of Cape Cod in November 1620, and the exploring party arrived in the Mayflower area on the December 21 was celebrated as the Forefathers' Day. According to traditional, pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock on December 26 and built their first forts and the watchtower on Burrow Hill, and so called because it contains the grave of government. William Bradford and other original group, and half of their number died the first winter and were buried on Coles Hill, and who was later leveled and planted in grain so that the Native Americans would not judge the extent of colony's depletion. Although never officially incorporated, the town was recognized in 1633 and a seat of Plymouth colonies, and was absorbed as Massachusetts Bay colonies in 1961. And such a location and historical association and make Plymouth an outstanding summer resort. A tourist-based economy is supplemented by light manufacturing, a production of computer software, fishing, and various services. Seafaring were the heart of early economic community, and active wharves and the bay yards remains. Among the numerous historical attractions are Plymouth palaces and museums, which includes the recreations of original Pilgrim village. The Pilgrim Home Museum, built in 1824, Harlow Old Fort House, a building depicting 17th century household occupations of Plymouth women, and the Mayflower Second, a goodwill ship built at Birmingham, England, and sailed across the Atlantic Ocean in 53 days in 1975. In 1957, many early colonial houses in town have been restored, including the Richard Sparrow House, the Edward Winslow House, and the Jabez Holland House. The Plymouth Rock, the first identified in 1741, became a symbol of freedom in 1774 when it was split by being dragged to Liberty Pole Square in pre-revolution agitation. It now rests the original waterfront sail under a portico granite on the hill behind the town in the 81-foot, 25 meters national mount to Forefathers Pilgrim's Mount. Dedicated in 1885, the polymath, including most of 17 square miles, 44 square km miles Standish State Forest area, 96 square miles, 248 squares, and pop. Pilgrim Fathers. Pilgrim Fathers in America colonial history settlers of Plymouth, Massachusetts, the first paramount colony in New England. Of 120 colonists, 35 are new members. England
Separatist.
Separatist.
or in some way live apart from other people. Separatists